that's actually kind of fables, right? Like that idea of there's a moral to the story. It's teaching us a lesson about our own world and society, but removing it so we don't feel so personally victimized or attacked in that process. So.
Well, welcome everybody. We are so thrilled to be joining you once again. We are here to talk about a film that has just like swept through the entire world. I am Devorah Governale.
And I'm Carrie Parker.
So the film we are doing today is K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh my goodness. It has just been a phenomenon. It has literally swept through not just our nation, but literally the entire world. This is a film that my niece, who is always up to date on what's trending, she always knows what's in and cool and coming up. She's just that person. So she knew weeks before this was being released on Netflix. So she watched it literally the second it came out and immediately wanted to share it with her cousins, two other nieces of mine that are close to her age, 14 and 12. So they came over to my house just a couple days later and they're like, Aunt Devorah, you have to watch this movie. And I was like, I've never heard of K-pop Demon Hunters, because little did I know I was in essentially the last 2 or 3 weeks I could ever say those words ever again. So they showed me the film. We sat and watched it in my living room. And I remember just looking at the girls and be like, oh my heavens, you guys, I love that you love that movie. What a great little movie. And then the next thing I knew, I had another niece that was like, I love this movie. Do you want to watch it with me? I'm like, yes. And I think it really was just a couple weeks later, after having watched it 3 times, that all of a sudden I'm like seeing that everybody has watched this movie and everybody loves this movie. And I'll be forever grateful to my nieces for making sure that I experienced it as quickly as possible. And, there's very good reason why it has been a phenomenon and why it has just swept through the planet. There is just so many things to love about K-pop Demon Hunters. You've got the art form, you've got the characters, you've got the music, you've got just the overall story and vibe. And it has put so much good into the world. And I imagine it will for generations to come. I would highly recommend going to watch. There's a couple great YouTube videos out there with the 2 artists that wrote that song. And oh my heavens, they're both darling. But she just goes on and on talking about how she did try to essentially be like a K-pop star. She really did try to be that and never quite got officially over the threshold. So this was such a dream come true to her to be able to write the song. And to hear the 2 of them talk about the progression and the little snippets that kind of came to them, that they came up with along the way, that eventually formed fully fledged into this song. It is beautiful. She starts crying at the end and it makes me tear up because she talks about how her journey was just kind of like defeat after defeat after defeat, closed door after closed door, and being kind of right on that cusp of being ready to give up. And then to have this explosion for her career, which, I think a lot of us can connect to. We've had these conversations recently. I can really connect to that, where we're working so hard on Maven Cinemas and it can feel like defeat after defeat. But, eventually we're going to get where we got to get with it. So amazing that they took the 3 voice actors and then they had the 3 singers. So it's very fun to see all the different YouTube videos that takes the 2 trios and puts them together and shows the way that they've been interacting as they go through and continue to promote this film. These 6 women are just so powerful and amazing. And it comes through in their performances. And obviously the storytelling has touched so many people.
But K-pop Demon Hunters, the story, which I genuinely appreciate. I remember you were like, you haven't seen it? And I was like, no, because I didn't want to cry. And then literally,
I think I was mostly shocked because you had an 11-year-old daughter.
And I'd avoided it.
Yeah. And so I just thought that literally, because I had been at that point seeing all these adorable TikTok videos of like the dads where they're joking about how they avoided it, but then they couldn't help but get sucked in by the daughter.
They're like dancing
by like the 7th time, they're like totally into it and singing all the words with their kids. So I guess I just had a picture in my head that you had a journey like that.
I was trying to be too cool for school, but mainly because I didn't want to ugly cry. Yeah. But then I ended up literally, as I was watching it in real time, I'm live texting her. I am sobbing.
It's amazing.
I am bawling my eyes out. And I was like, by one of the early songs, because the reality of, I think it's the first time we hear gold, isn't it? She's like, how can I do this if I don't have a voice? And it was literal. She was
That is
losing her
jury
voice.
golden. Yes.
And yeah, but it was also like literally her voice was cracking while she was singing. And it just, the idea of not having a voice as a female, and oh my God, I just started bawling. And that reality of how we often don't feel like we have a voice in situations, and how do we find our autonomy, which again, I'll throw it back to my boss. So funny. I love her because she has said, I believe that you can find a way to work within this system. And that's so, so very true. Big picture, small picture, I don't care what system you're talking about. But again, that's why I love the statement, because that fact and how she said it is so very real. I
And it
mean,
kind of comes full circle at the end when we hear the lyrics. My voice, when I'm telling the truth and I'm not lying, this is what it sounds like, which, it
yes.
seems like many, many, many people connected to that feeling.
Yeah.
Whether it's about reflecting on your own behavior or wishing you were being shown that honor and respect from people around you,
Yeah.
or both.
But such great deep themes. And in Asian cultures, there's a lot of concepts about honor and integrity, and that idea that her character struggles with the fact that she's half demon, knows this the whole entire time, feels like she has to hide this part of herself,
Yeah, because
that
her
she won't
aunt
be
was like,
accepted.
total Elsa's parents conceal, don't feel. What kind of bad parenting advice is that, guys? Come on.
Just repress it down. It'll be fine. It's never going to blow up in your face. She accomplishes this journey, but there's a lot of that. She doesn't want to disappoint, which is, I think, why honor in and of itself and integrity are such great values to have. But that reality of it is a lot when we carry the expectations of others. And that's what most of the story is about. And society has a picture of what we are supposed to be, how we are supposed to be successful, what successful, happy, pretty, healthy look like. And that's what they hold us up to. And that can very commonly be an unhealthy standard. And it is not a good idea to actually attempt to be those people, reality of what we're being held up to. And so she obviously, and in K-pop Demon Hunters, they make it a far more literal and accessible concept in the demons versus normal people.
Makes it very relatable to a lot of different groups who might feel other in some way.
Right. Or who might not see the subtleties in looking at our society or other societies and how they enforce the same concept. They make it very relatable, but accessible, easy to identify, right? You know who the bad guy is. And that's what stories, a lot of times, especially our superhero stories and our heroes
And
in
our
this one, the
fantasy
demon
stories.
hunters, that it makes it very obvious who the bad guys are. And
They're just sucking everybody's souls. No big deal. And not only are they doing that, but they're doing it with the cleverly disguised cutie little soda pop can that says 1000% you. Which again, like, why do we connect to this film so much? Because that really is what happens. Some of the things that are the most negative and challenging for us are the things that have the most appeal on the surface.
Yeah.
Like when you want to have a relationship with a bad boy instead of a good guy, and they don't realize that participating in staying connected to the Sasha boys and drinking their soda is actually literally sending their souls over to Gima to be consumed.
Yeah, but again, I also love this similar. So we know bad guy, good guy. We have that black and white concept. The fact that she is a gray, she's in the middle. She is not one thing or the other thing. She is a mixture of both, and trying to find her space and voice in that world. And where do I fit in? And does it mean I'm condemned to the dark side, the evil side? The
Yeah.
black and white, the good or evil, those concepts are very easy. There's something that we naturally do. Cognitive distortions have black or white thinking, all or nothing being a very interesting concept, which also brings me back to Sinners. But that Sinners also brought forward that idea of connection through music, right? So the idea that K-pop Demon Hunters, they're a K-pop girl group, and then there's the K-pop boy group. And the idea that they're both dueling to get more fans, and they're using music for that connection and to draw them in. And that's the exact same thing that we had in Sinners, and was half the moral of the story, right? Is the idea that music connects us.
Yeah,
for better or worse. And it can also draw on the wrong things,
that's
just like
also
the
true too.
demons and K-pop demon hunters. And so I really appreciated that. That's actually kind of fables, right? Like that idea of there's a moral to the story. It's teaching us a lesson about our own world and society, but removing it so we don't feel so personally victimized or attacked in that process. So it's great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We always love to be able to geek out about these films and the stories and the way they benefit our lives. And obviously, this has been a story that so many people have loved. We love it as well. So we'd love to hear from you. Anything you want to
And
talk
we
about?
didn't even touch on the fashion because we're saving it for later. Because legit, that was this
I
girl. She was like
know.
the
Most
costume.
costumes in any animated film ever. Like that is fact. It has the most
Yeah.
costumes that has ever been on character.
Yeah. So we will be.
We'll
There's
do it
no
part
way.
two.
Yeah, that we'll be leaving this one alone. It'll come back around. Don't worry
For sure.
about this.
Yay. Well, thanks so much, guys. We can't wait for next time. Bye.